Hello viewers, welcome again to today's lesson. This is the solution space, the platform where mathematics is made easy and simple for everyone to understand and to enjoy. In this video, I want us to continue with the set that I started with you in the previous videos. In the previous videos, we started learning about set, where we started from the scratch. We learned about simplification of set. We went ahead to look at addition and subtraction of set, and also multiplication of set. And the last thing that we learned under the set was the rationalization of set. Okay, so in the last video that I did, we learned about rationalization of set, and we've done a detailed explanation on it, and we solved many examples on it as well in the previous videos, and I hope you understood it and you enjoyed the lesson as well. So in this video, I want us to continue and handle another subtopic under the set, okay, and that is radical equations. Okay, as you can see from the board, I've written radical equations on the board. Okay, so that is what I want to teach you in this video, and you can also see that I have an example on the board that I want to solve with you. But before we proceed and solve the example that I have on the board, I have to do a quick explanation on what radical equations are, okay, so that you get a good understanding of it, so that we'll proceed and solve the example that I have on the board. Okay, so now when we talk about radical equations, okay, in simple terms, what that means is that we have an equation that contains set. Okay, so I'm going to repeat it one more time. So I'm saying that when we speak of radical equations, in simple terms, it means that we have an equation that contains set, okay, and that is what we refer to as radical equations. Okay, so I hope the explanation is clear enough up to this point. Okay, so now before we proceed and solve the example one that I have on the board, there's something else that I want to teach you, okay, because we are going to apply that knowledge in solving the example that I have on the board. Okay, so I'm going to teach you so that we get an understanding of it, so that we can apply it in solving the example that I have on the board. That will make our work simple and faster. Okay, so let me show you. So assuming I have something like this, let's say I have s plus 1 all squared, okay, and you are being asked to expand this one or simplify this one. Okay, so you know that the normal process to go through is to repeat your s plus 1 multiplying another s plus 1. Okay, then you follow the multiplication of two binomial approach to simplify further. Okay, so having s plus 1 all squared, it means s plus 1 is multiplying itself two times. Okay, so that's the meaning of s plus 1 all squared. It means s plus 1 is multiplying itself two times. Okay, so we can write it as s plus 1 into one bracket multiplying another s plus 1. Okay, so then from here we apply the principle that governs the multiplication of two binomial to simplify further. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify further. Okay, so we are going to maintain the last bracket, then each term in the first bracket is going to multiply the last bracket. Okay, so when I take this s, it will multiply the last bracket. Then when I take this positive one also, it will multiply the last bracket. Okay, that is the multiplication of two binomials approach. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it together. Okay, so when I take this s, it will multiply the last bracket, which is s plus 1. Then I'll take this positive one as well. It will also multiply the last bracket, which is s plus 1. Okay, now from here we apply removing of brackets. Okay, so this s will open its bracket by multiplying each term in the bracket, and this positive one will also open its bracket by multiplying each term in the bracket. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So we are going to have s times s, it will give us s squared. Then s times positive 1 is going to give us positive s. Then this positive 1 will also open its bracket. So positive 1 times s is going to give us positive s, and positive 1 times positive 1 is going to give us positive 1. Okay, from here we can simplify further. Okay, so because this and this are like terms, this s and this s, they are like terms that we can simplify further. Okay, so I'm going to repeat my s squared. S plus s will give me 2s. Okay, so so I'm going to have s squared plus 2s then plus 1. Okay, now this becomes our final answer for expanding this or simplifying this. Okay, so we go through the multiplication of two binomials approach to be able to simplify. Okay, but there's a short way that I want to teach you. Okay, so I'm going to teach you that short way. Okay, so now that short way goes like this. Please follow closely. It's very simple, but follow the process. Okay, so that you don't get confused. Okay, so now the short way is you are going to use the power 2 here to square the first term. Okay, so this power 2 will square the first term. Okay, so the first term here is s. Okay, actually we have two terms in this bracket, which is s and positive 1. Okay, so this power 2 will square the first term, which is the s. So when this power 2 square the first term, it's going to give us s squared. I hope you agree with me. Okay, so this power 2 will affect the first term, okay, by squaring it. Okay, so s being affected by the power 2 is going to be s squared. Okay, so in simple terms, the power 2 here will square the first term, and that gives us s squared. And this same power 2 now will multiply everything in the bracket. Okay, so watch it. So the power 2 multiply everything in the bracket now. So this power 2 will multiply this s, and that will give us 2s. And that 2s times positive 1 is going to give us positive 2s. So we are going to have s squared plus 2s. Okay, let me go over one more time. Okay, so just follow. It's very simple. First, the power 2 will square the first term, which is the s. Okay, so when this power 2 squares the s, it gives us s squared. And this power 2 now will multiply everything in the bracket. So how the multiplication is done is that this power 2 multiplies this s, it gives us 2s, and the 2s multiplies the positive 1, and it gives us positive 2s. Okay, now we proceed again. Then this power 2 now will square the last term. Okay, so the last term is positive 1. So when the power 2 squares the positive 1, it's going to give us positive 1, because 1 squared is still 1. Okay, so you can see that we are getting the same answer as going through the process of using the multiplication of two binomials. Okay, so we are getting the same answer, which is s squared plus 2s plus 1. Okay, so that's the shortcut. Okay, so I want you to keep the shortcut in mind, okay, so that it helps us to be able to solve these questions with ease and much faster. Okay, so I'm going to use another example to explain it to you, okay, before we proceed. Okay, so I'm going to clean this one from there, and I'm going to take another example. Okay, so now, assuming I have another example, let's say I have 2s minus 3 all squared. Okay, and you are being asked to simplify this one or expand this one. Okay, so we are going to go through the normal process of using the multiplication of two binomials. Okay, so we are going to write this one as 2s minus 3 into one bracket, multiplying another bracket which has 2s minus 3 in it. Okay, so having 2s minus 3 all squared, it can be written as 2s minus 3 into one bracket, multiplying another 2s minus 3 into another bracket. Okay, because I've explained that the 2s minus 3 to the power 2, it means 2s minus 3 is multiplying itself 2 times, which we can write as this. Okay, so now from here, we apply the multiplication of two binomials principle, okay, to get our answer, okay, or to simplify further. Okay, so let's go ahead. So how we do that is that we are going to maintain the last bracket, then each term in the first bracket is going to multiply the last bracket. So when I take this 2s, it will multiply the last bracket, which is 2s minus 3. Then when I take this minus 3 also, it will multiply the last bracket, which is 2s minus 3. I hope you agree with me up to this point. From here, let's open our bracket. So I'm going to get 2s times 2s is going to give me 4s squared, okay, and 2s times minus 3 is going to give me minus 6s, and this minus 3 will open its bracket too. Okay, so minus 3 times 2s will give me minus 6s, and minus 3 times minus 3 will give me positive 9, because when negative and negative multiplies, it becomes positive. I hope you agree with me up to this point. Now let's go ahead and simplify further, because this minus 6s and this minus 6s, they are like terms. We can simplify further. Okay, so I'm going to have 4s squared minus 6s is going to give you minus 12s. Then you bring your plus 9. Okay, this is our final answer, which we cannot simplify further again. So that's the final answer. Now let's use the shortcut that I taught you, and you are going to get the same answer. Okay, so follow it. So now follow. It's very simple, so just follow. So I said that this power 2 here will square the first term. Now take note that the first term here is 2s. Okay, this 2s is the first term, so this power 2 will square it. And when the power 2 is squaring this first term, the power 2 will affect this 2 here and also affect the s, which is here. Okay, so when the power 2 affects this 2, it's going to be 4. Okay, because 2 squared is 4, and this same power 2 affects this s as well, so it's going to be s squared. Okay, so the power 2 affects this 2s, and that gives us 4s squared. Then now this power 2 now will multiply everything in the bracket. Okay, that's the next step. Okay, the power 2 will multiply everything in this bracket. This is how the multiplication is done. The power 2 will multiply the 2s, which will give me 4s. Okay, and that 4s will multiply the negative 3. Okay, and that is going to give me negative 12s. I hope you agree with me up to this point. Okay, so I'm going to get negative 12s. Okay, so let me go over one more time. Okay, so the first thing is that the power 2 will affect the first term. Okay, how it affects the first term is that it squares it. Okay, so having 2s squared is going to give us 4s squared. Okay, so the power 2 will affect these 2s. How it affects is that it squares the 2 and also squares the s. That's why we are getting 4s squared. Okay, because 2 squared, okay, is 4 and s squared is s squared. Okay, so that's why we are having the 4s squared. I hope you understand. Then this same power 2 will multiply everything in the bracket. Okay, so this is how the multiplication is done. This power 2 multiplies the 2s. It gives us positive 4s, and that positive 4s multiplies the negative 3. It gives us negative 12s. Okay, now this power 2 now squares the last term. Okay, the last term here is negative 3. Okay, so when the power 2 squares it, it becomes positive 9, because negative 3 squared becomes positive 9. Okay, so you are going to have plus 9. Okay, so this is the shortcut. Okay, so you can see that you are getting the same answer by going through this process of applying the multiplication of 2 binomial approach. Okay, we are getting the same answer as doing the shortcut. Okay, so I hope the understanding is clear up to this point. Okay, so let's do the last one before we solve the example that I have on the board. Okay, so now the last one, let's say I have a 3b squared. Okay, let's make it 3b minus 1 all squared. Okay, so let's first go through the multiplication of 2 binomials approach. Okay, so this one is going to be 3b minus 1 into one bracket, multiplying 3b minus 1 into another bracket, because 3b minus 1 all squared means 3b minus 1 is multiplying itself 2 times. Okay, so we can write it as 3b minus 1 into one bracket, multiplying another bracket which has 3b minus 1 in it. Okay, so now from here we follow the process of the multiplication of 2 binomials approach. Okay, we maintain the last bracket, then each term in the first bracket multiplies the last bracket. So when I take this 3b, it multiplies the last bracket, which is 3b minus 1. Then when I take this negative 1 also, it multiplies the last bracket, which is 3b minus 1. I hope you agree with me. Now let's open our bracket. Okay, so 3b times 3b, it gives me 9b squared. Okay, then 3b times minus 1, it gives me minus 3b. Then minus 1 times positive 3b, it gives me minus 3b. Then minus 1 times minus 1 gives me positive 1. We can simplify further, so I have my 9b squared. This and this are like terms that you can simplify. minus 3b minus 3b will give me minus 6b, then plus the one which we have here. Okay, I hope you agree with me up to this point. So this is our final answer for simplifying this one or expanding this one. Okay, but I want us to use the shortcut. Okay, so let's go ahead and use the shortcut. So this is how the shortcut is going to be. The power 2 will square the first term. Okay, so when the power 2 is squaring the first term, it will affect the 3 and also affect the b. Okay, so 3 squared gives me 9 and the b squared gives me b squared. Okay, so the power 2 here squares the first term. Okay, so 3b squared will give you 9b squared. Okay, and this same power 2 now multiplies everything in the bracket. Okay, so this is how the multiplication is done. Power 2 multiplies 3b, it gives you positive 6b. Okay, this power 2 multiplies this, it gives you 6b, and that 6b multiplies the negative 1 and it gives you negative 6b. I hope you agree with me. Okay, then now this power 2 will square the last term. The last term is negative 1. Okay, don't forget that the negative is for the 1. Okay, so the last term is negative 1, and when the power 2 squares the negative 1, it becomes positive 1. Okay, because negative 1 squared means negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1. You can see that we are getting the same answer as going through this process of multiplication of two binomials. We are getting the same answer. So you can use the shortcut to simplify questions of this nature. Okay, so I hope the explanation was clear enough and you understood it as well. So now keep this knowledge in your head. We are going to apply it whilst we solve the radical equation on the board. Okay, so I'm going to clean this one now so that we have enough space to solve the radical equation that I have on the board. So example 1, it says solve s plus square root of s plus 1 equals to 5. Okay, so I'm going to write down my solution, okay, and we are going to do it together. Okay, so I have s plus square root of s plus 1 equals to 5. Okay, we are to solve for the value of s in this equation, which is a radical equation. Okay, because I've explained to you that any equation that contains z is referred to as a radical equation. Okay, so now what you are going to do is that we are going to square both sides of the equation. Okay, because I've taught you under the change of subject. Okay, I've explained to you that anytime you have an equation that contains a square root sign, the first thing that you do is to think of eliminating the square root sign from the equation. Okay, so having a square root sign in this equation, we think of eliminating the square root sign from it. Okay, and how to achieve that is to square both sides of the equation. Okay, so we are going to square this term, okay, these two terms, and we are going to square this one as well. Okay, but I will prefer that you move the s to this side. Okay, before you square it, you get the same answer as you maintaining the s at this side and you squaring it. Okay, so but it's much simpler when I move the s to this side before I square both sides. Then it becomes much simple, okay, than you squaring this term and also squaring this one. Okay, so any way that you use, you get the same answer. Okay, but I just want to stick to the method that will make the work much simple and easy for us. Okay, so before I square both sides, I'm going to move this s away to come and join the 5 which is here. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead. So I'm going to repeat my square root of s plus 1 which is here equals to my 5 is there, so that this positive s will cross the equal sign and come and join it, becomes negative s. Okay, I hope you agree with me. Okay, from here, then now I will choose to square both sides of the equation. So I'll square this one. Okay, then I'm going to square this term as well. Okay, so that we can eliminate the square root sign from it. Okay, so let's go ahead. So the next step is that I'm going to square my square root of s plus 1. I'm going to square it equals to my 5 minus s. I'm going to square it as well. I hope you understand up to this point. Okay, so now let's go ahead and simplify further. We know that this power 2 here can cancel the square root sign away. So this power 2 cancels this square root sign away. So I have my s plus 1 equals to now this is the reason why I taught you the shortcut, okay, of simplifying what we just did. Okay, so you can see that here we have 5 minus s all squared. Okay, now we can choose to write it as 5 minus s multiplying another 5 minus s. Okay, that's going through the multiplication of 2 binomial approach. We are going to repeat this one 2 times, multiplying itself. Okay, but I want us to use the shortcut. That's why I taught you the shortcut. Okay, so I will use the shortcut, and when you go through the multiplication of 2 binomial approach, you get the same answer as using the shortcut. Okay, so if you don't really get the shortcut, I will advise that you write the 5 minus s into one bracket, multiply another 5 minus s. Okay, you write it as 2 times, then you use the multiplication of 2 binomial approach to simplify. Okay, you get the same answer, but I want to use the shortcut. Okay, now I've taught you how to use the shortcut, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so the power 2 here will square the first term as we learned. Okay, so this power 2 will square the first term. The first term here is 5, positive 5. So when the power 2 squares it, it's going to give us 25, okay? Because 5 square means 5 times 5, okay? Please, 5 square is not 10, okay? Students make those mistakes a lot, okay? 5 square is not 10, okay? 5 square means 5 times 5, okay? And that gives 25, okay? So the power 2 affects the first term, which is the 5. It gives us 25. And this same power 2 will now multiply everything in the bracket. So this is how the multiplication is done. The power 2 here will multiply the 5. 2 times the 5 gives 10. And that 10 will multiply the negative s. Okay, so 10 times negative s gives negative 10s. I hope you agree with me. Then now this power 2 now squares the last term. Okay, the power 2 will square the last term. Note that the last term is negative s, because the negative is for this s, so the last term here is negative s. When the power 2 squares it, it becomes plus s squared, okay? Because when you square negative s, it means negative s times negative s, which will give you positive s squared, okay? So when the power 2 squares the last term, which is the negative s, you get positive s squared, okay? So this is what we are getting, okay, for expanding this one. Now from here, we just group like terms, okay? So I'll maintain my s here. Then this minus 10s will cross the equal sign to come and join it. So it becomes plus 10s because it's negative here. When it crosses the equal sign, it becomes positive, okay? Then I'll bring my plus 1, which is there. Then this 25 will also cross the equal sign to come and join it, okay? So my plus 1 is there. The 25 comes to join it, so it becomes minus 25. Okay, then equals to my s square is there. Okay, so now s plus 10s will give me 11s. I hope you agree with me. Then positive 1 minus 25 will give me negative 24. I hope you agree with me. Equals my s squared. Okay, so I hope you agree with me up to this point. Okay, so now you can see that from here, what we are having is that we are going to get a quadratic equation, okay? Because so we are going to shift everything to this side so that you see that it will be a quadratic equation, okay? So now I'm going to move this s to this side, okay? This 11s, the 11s here, I'm going to move it to come and join what is here, and this negative 24 also, I'm going to move it to come and join whatever is there, okay? So I will have when I move everything from this side, here will be left with 0. Okay, so I'll have my 0 equals to my s squared is there. This 11s cross the equal sign to come there to become minus 11s. And this negative 24 cross the equal sign to come here becomes plus 24. So you can see we are getting a quadratic equation. Okay, so 0 equals s squared minus 11s plus 24. Okay, so we are getting a quadratic equation, okay, which we can rewrite as, let me continue from this side, okay, I hope you can see. So I have my s squared minus 11s plus 24 equals to 0. Okay, so now we are having a quadratic equation, and I've taught you how to solve quadratic equation. Okay, I've taught you quadratic equations from the previous video, so we are going to apply that knowledge to be able to solve for the value of s. Okay, so you're going to see that you are going to get two values for s. Okay, so now that's how we go about it. We use the first term. We'll use the first term here to multiply the last term, which is here. Okay, so s squared times the positive 24, it gives us positive 24 s squared. Now we look for two factors in which when we multiply, it will give us the positive 24 s squared back. But those same two factors, when we add them, we are supposed to get the minus 11s back, which is the middle term. Okay, please, I've taught on quadratic equation. Okay, so if you are getting confused with the quadratic equation, just search for my videos that I've done on quadratic equation so that it will help you understand. Okay, I've already taught on it, so we are applying that knowledge here. Okay, so what we did is that we used the first term to multiply the last term, which gives us 24 s squared. Okay, then now we look for two factors in which when we multiply, it will give us the positive 24 s squared back. But those same two factors, when we add them, it's supposed to give us the middle term. The middle term is negative 11s. Okay, and the two factors that come in mind will be negative 3s and negative 8s. Let's check and see. Okay, let's check and see if it is true that these are the two factors. Negative 3s times negative 8s, it gives positive 24s squared. Okay, now when we add these same two factors, we are supposed to get the middle term, which is the negative 11s. So negative 3s plus negative 8s, it gives the negative 11s. Okay, so we've gotten the right factors. Okay, so now the next step is that we are going to omit the middle term away. We are going to take the middle term, then we are going to replace it with these two factors. That's what we are going to do. Okay, so I'm going to repeat my s squared, which is here. I hope you are following. Okay, then we'll replace it with this middle term. We'll take it away. Then we are going to replace it with these two factors. So we'll have our minus 3s, then minus our 8s, then we'll bring our plus 24 equals to 0. Okay, I hope you agree with me. Okay, now we factorize. Okay, so I've taught you factorization too, so we are applying it here. Okay, so we take them 2 by 2. We take the first two and factorize, then we take the last two and factorize. So taking the first two, this s squared minus 3s, what you can factorize out is, we'll factorize our s out. Factorization simply means we are bringing the common things out. Okay, so we factorize s out, then we bring our bracket, then we ask ourselves, what do we put here, so that when we multiply by the s, we'll get this s squared back, and that is s. You bring your minus, which is here. You ask yourself the same question, what will I put here, so that when I multiply by the s, I'll get this 3s back, and that is going to be 3. Okay, so you can see we are getting this. Okay, now we take the last two also, we factorize. Okay, so the minus 8s plus the 24, we factorize. What do we factorize out? We factorize minus 8 out. So minus 8 out, we will have s minus 3. I hope you agree with me, equals to 0. Okay, the same process, you ask yourself, what will I put here, so that when I multiply it by this negative 8, I'll get the negative s back, and that is s. So that's why we place s here. And you ask yourself, what will I put here, so that when I multiply it by this negative 8, I'll get the positive 24 back, and that is negative 3. Okay, that's why you have. So if you do the correct thing, you'll see that always the two brackets will always be the same. Okay, so now what to do is that the terms outside the bracket, we join it into one bracket. Okay, so this s and this minus 8, which are outside the brackets, we are going to join them into one bracket. So we are going to have s minus 8 into one bracket, and since this bracket and this bracket are the same, we just pick one of it and attach to it. So we are going to have s minus 3 into another bracket equals to 0. Okay, so now what to do is that we equate each term in the bracket to 0, then we solve. Okay, so we are going to take this s minus 8, equate to 0 and solve. Then we are going to take this s minus 3, equate it to 0 and solve. Okay, so we are going to have our, let me continue from here. Okay, I hope you can see from here. So I want to continue from here. So we are going to have our s minus 8 equals to 0. Okay, comma. Then we are going to have our s minus 3 also equals to 0. I hope you agree with me. Okay, so I said that we take each term in the bracket and equate to 0 and solve. I hope you can see from here now. Okay, so let me write it well so that you can see it clearly. Okay, so let me clean this one and write it well. So we take the s minus 8, equate it to 0, then comma, okay, then we take the s minus 3 also, we equate it to 0, and we solve for s. Okay, I hope you agree with me. So having this one, so our s will be equal to 8, comma, then our s will be equals to positive 3, because this minus 8 cross the equal sign comes here, become positive, so s is equal to 8, and this minus 3 crosses the equal sign comes here, become positive, so s is equals to positive 3. So you can see that we are having two values for s, which is s is equals to 8 and s is equals to 3. Okay, but we are not done. Okay, we need to test if it's true that these two values satisfy the equation. Okay, so we are going to use them to test. Okay, so you don't leave it like this. We've gotten the values for s is equals to 8 and s is equal to 3. Okay, but we need to test to see that if indeed these two values really satisfy the equation given, okay, which is the s plus square root of s plus 1 equals to 5. So let's test and see. Okay, so we are at the testing place. Okay, we are testing to see. Okay, so now when my s is equal to 8, okay, let's start with s is equal to 8. It means that wherever I see s in this equation, I'm going to put 8 there. Okay, so let me start. So I'll have 8 plus square root of 8 plus 1 is supposed to give us 5. Okay, so the left hand side, so now the left hand side should give us the same value as the right hand side. Okay, so now when we simplify what is here, it's supposed to give us the value which is here at the right hand side, which is the 5. Okay, so if we don't get the same value which as the what is at the right hand side, then it means 8 is not a solution to the equation. Okay, because if 8 is a solution to the equation, then it might satisfy the equation by giving us the same value at the right hand side when we input the 8 into where s is at the left hand side of the equation. Okay, so when we simplify this one, it's supposed to give us the same value which is here at the right hand side. Okay, then it means that s is equal to 8 satisfy the equation. Okay, other than that, it means that when we get a different value which is not equals to 5, then it means s equals to 8 is not a solution to the equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so I have my 8 plus square root of 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay, so equals to 5. It's supposed to give us 5. So I'll repeat my 8 here, plus square root of 9 is 3. Okay, square root of 9 is 3. Please, I hope you all agree with me. Okay, it should give us 5. But you know that, check very well. You can see that 8 plus 3 gives us 11. And 11 is not equal to 5. Okay, so it means that s is equal to 8 is not a solution to the given equation. Okay, I hope you agree with me. Okay, if s is equal to 8, okay, it's not a solution to the equation, then let's try for s is equal to 3 as well to see if that one satisfies the equation. And actually, that will satisfy the equation because you cannot have both two values not able to satisfy the equation. Okay, so it's obvious that s is equal to 3 will be the solution to the equation, and that is what satisfies the equation. I hope the explanation is clear up to this point. Okay, so now all that we are doing is to now to test for the values that we've gotten. Okay, we've solved and we've gotten s is equal to 8 and we've gotten s is equal to 3. Okay, but we need to test to see whether those values are indeed solutions to the equation. Okay, so we will test with the 8 and we will test with the 3 as well. Okay, and we've tested with the 8 and we can see that we are not getting the left hand side to be equal to the right hand side, so it means s is equal to 8 is not a solution to the equation as proven from this side, because we are getting 11 which is not equals to 5. Okay, so s is not equal to 8 is not a solution to the given equation. So we are going to test for s is equal to 3. Okay, and which is obvious that s is equal to 3 will be a solution to the equation. So I'm going to clean this from here. Okay, so that we test for s equals to 3. Okay, so now let's test for s is equal to 3. So wherever I see s, I'm going to put 3 there in this equation. So I'm going to have a 3 plus square root of 3 plus 1. Okay, should give us 5. Okay, so it means that when we simplify the left hand side, it should give us the same value at the right hand side. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'll repeat my 3 here, plus square root of 3 plus 1 is 4, should give us 5. Okay, now we are going to have 3 plus square root of 4 is 2. I hope you agree with me. So should give us 5. Okay, you can see that 3 plus 2 gives 5. Please, I hope you can see 3 plus 2 it gives 5. So we have our 5. Okay, let me write it here. Our 5 is equals to 5. So you can see that the value s is equal to 3 satisfy the equation, because the left hand side is giving us the same value as the right hand side. Okay, so we now conclude that therefore s is equals to 3 is the solution to the given equation. Okay, s is equals to 8 is not a solution, because when we tested it did not satisfy the equation. Okay, so you write your conclusion that therefore, okay, so let me write it somewhere here. So you say that therefore your s is equals to 3 is the actual solution to the given equation. Okay, I hope the explanation was clear enough and you understood it as well. Okay, so between the two values that we got for s, the solution, the actual answer is s is equals to 3 and not s is equals to 8. Okay, because the testing has proved that s is equals to 8 does not satisfy the equation. It is s is equals to 3 that satisfies the equation. Okay, so we conclude that therefore s is equals to 3 is the solution to the given equation. Okay, I hope the explanation was clear enough and you understood it as well. Please don't forget to like the video and also share the video as well. See you again in another video whilst we solve more examples on this. Bye bye.